Hey guys, welcome to my first Excel project walkthrough where I'm going to be going through end-to-end project with an Amazon sales dataset that I got from the Kaggle website, which I'm going to put in the description so you guys can follow along. So this video is split into two parts. So this first section is just the cleaning process and all the pre-processing activities before I analyze the data and I create the Excel dashboard. So thank you for joining me in this video, follow along, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you guys put in the comments also. So just a disclaimer, there are many ways to analyze this data set. My way is definitely not the best or the most optimal way, but I just thought this is the best way to teach you guys some of the main formulas that are more commonly used in the industry. So like VLOOKUPs, if statements, and a few others that you will see as you go along in the project. So that's it from me. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and enjoy the video. So here we have the Amazon sales data that you've just downloaded. So congratulations on taking the first step to building your first Excel project. Maybe it's your second or third, who knows, but congratulations either way. So let's jump straight to it. So here we have the Amazon worksheet. We're going to be going through each one just so we can get familiar with the data set and so we understand the type of data that we're going to be analyzing. So going to the first column in the Amazon worksheet, we have product ID. So I'm assuming this uniquely identifies each product in the Amazon store. And actually, before we continue, it'll be good if we can see all the data clearly from the get-go. So we're gonna double click here on the top left corner, and then we're gonna double click any column, and then this is going to change the sizing of each column so that we can see the data clearly. So yeah, there we go. So going back to the first column now. And yeah, so here we have the category, which I'm assuming is going to be related to the category section later on. Here we have the actual price. So it's quite shown in a weird format. So we're definitely going to have to split up later. And yeah, so we can separate the I and the apostrophe and so on. Here we have the discount percentage, discount price, which we're going to have to calculate, the rating count, and hour of purchase, which is interesting. So it seems like this is a weekly data set, so the amount of purchases in a week, as we have the day of the week also. And we have the image link and product link, so we're able to Google the products if needed. Moving on to the reviews worksheet, we're going to do the same thing. So click top left corner, double click the column so we can see the data clearly. It's great. So yeah, here we have the user ID, which is quite long, but that's okay. Here we have the username. So it seems that there are multiple names in the same cell. So I'm assuming they've just put that together for the same product. Here we have the review ID and the review title and also the review content. So it's going to be multiple reviews in each cell. So just double check. Looks durable, charging is fine, 2 no complaints, charging is really fast, comma. So they're all separated by commas. So that's how we know which product review belongs to which person. So now moving on to the products worksheet, we have the product ID, product name. Oh, let me just expand each column again. Go. So the product name, these are all quite long names and long reviews, but that's okay. We have product description, and that's it for the products worksheet. We have category, just expanding it again. So I think all these smaller tables will be good when we use the VLOOKUP function later on. It'll be a good practice. And then we have day of the week. We also have the Coles dictionary, which helps us to understand what most of the column names mean. So just going through it, product ID, name of the product, category, actual price in Indian rupees. So we're definitely going to have to convert that to pounds or whatever currency that you want to work with. Percentage of discount, name of the user who wrote for the product, short review, long review, and the links. So going back to the Amazon worksheet, a quick shortcut that I wanted to show you guys is the control home shortcut. So it's simply control home, and this is going to take you to the beginning of the data set. So I'm going to do that now, control and home. It would also be good to see how long this data set is. So another shortcut I'm going to use is control down. And this is basically going to show me the last row in this data set. And it will also help me to identify any empty rows or any empty spaces, because this will keep going down until there's an empty space essentially. So just press a control down, say in the end of the worksheet. So yep, there's no empty rows in the first column, which is good to know. So we have 1,466 products. Well, 1,465 minus the header row. So again, going on control home to go back to the beginning, or control up to go to the top of the worksheet, but control home for good practice. So what's the first thing we're going to do? The first thing we're going to do is basically cleaning the data set. So we're going to be removing any white spaces, we're going to be removing duplicates, we're going to be just making sure that when we process the data and we're building our pivot tables and building our dashboard, that is just going to be a clean data set that's consistent and free from any errors. So I actually have a checklist here that I've put in the description. So the checklist includes a spell check, checking of empty rows, checking duplicates, uppercase and lowercase for any inconsistencies, date formats, removing white spaces, and splitting any columns that's necessary. So this is just like a basic guideline that I use when analyzing a data set so that I don't forget anything. So a great way to check all of these things is by creating a table in a data set. So we're going to use the shortcut again to go to the first column and the first cell, A1. So we're going to press Control Home, and then we need to highlight the whole data set so that we're able to create a table. So this is going to be done by pressing Control, Shift, and Right. So this highlights all the column until the end of the data set. And then we're going to hold Control, Shift, and then we're going to press down. And so now the whole data set is highlighted. And then from here, we're going to press Control and T. So it's asking us if this is the range that we want to make the table. So this is the range, as we know from earlier, it's 1,466. And then we definitely want to click My Table Has Headers so that it can identify the first row as headers. So we click OK. And now we have a table, which is great. So now we have our first table. We're going to be duplicating the Amazon worksheet. So this is so that if we make a mistake while doing any processing stuff or clean up the data, we could then go back to the original worksheet and either start again or make the changes we need to correct the data. So we're going to right click on the Amazon worksheet here, and then we're going to click on, where is it, move a copy. Gonna click create a copy and then click on Amazon, so just so it appears next to the Amazon worksheet. So it's here, so this is the duplicated version. And then we're gonna rename this into, just so it's really clear, we're gonna rename it to Amazon pre-processing. In caps. Pre-processing. Hopefully spelling's alright. So yeah, so this is the worksheet where we're going to do all of our pre-processing, cleaning up, adding anything on we need to, or deleting any rows of data we don't need. So going back to here, we're going to actually lock this data set so that, you know, I don't accidentally mix it up, or I don't accidentally change anything from the original data set. So we're going to right click here on the Amazon, so the original worksheet, and then we'll go into protect sheet. And then it's going to ask us for a password. So you want to make this just a really simple and easy password to remember. So I'm going to just type in admin in all lowercase, just an easy password to remember. And then ask me to re-enter. So admin, great. Okay, so that's now locked. So if I wanted to change anything, let's say, errors come up and it just, you know, it won't let me. So now we're going to go back to the Amazon pre-processing worksheet. and we're going to begin the cleaning phase of the process. So yeah, let's begin. So we have the first few columns. Yes, I think the first thing to do is definitely to change the formatting of the actual price. So I'm assuming that the A is the Amazon logo, and the apostrophe and the index of 1 is also just attached to that. So when it was downloading it from, when Excel was downloading the raw data set, it definitely just attached each currency to these characters here. So we know from the columns dictionary that the actual price is in Indian rupees. So just to make it more clear for myself, I'm going to change it to, or convert it to the British pound, but you can convert it to whatever currency that you would like best. So the first thing I'm going to do is just create a new column. So we're going to right click on the fourth column, so the D column, and we're going to insert column, and then we're just going to call this price clean. Great. So there's different ways that you can go about this, but one easy way that I can think of right now is just to control, to find and replace all the cells that contain these characters, and then just to remove it and replace it with a space. So we're going to do that now. So we're going to highlight this whole column. We're going to press Control F, and this will bring up the find and replace prompt. So what we actually want to do is, actually I should have done that first. Okay, I'm going to go back quickly, highlight a cell. I'm going to copy and paste the characters that I want to remove, so it's easier for me to find. So I'm going to paste that in the find what text box, so here, and then I'm going to replace it with a space, and let's see what that does. I might be wrong, but it'll be good to just test it out. So we're gonna replace all. Great, so all done. We've made 1,465 replacements, and we know that's the right number because of, you know, when we did go to the bottom of the data set, we know that this was the exact number of rows. So that's great. So going back to the data set now. So now that we have all the characters removed from all the numbers, we're able to just copy and paste this. So we're gonna copy and paste this and place it here. So values, can't copy and paste this error because it's not the same size. Oh, right, of course. So this is good that I'm making mistakes along the way so that you guys can learn and follow with me. So the reason why I wasn't able to copy and paste was because I copied and pasted this whole column, and when I copy and paste it here, it wasn't the correct size essentially. So I'm gonna click on this cell, and I'm gonna highlight it by pressing Control, Shift, and down, and that will highlight the whole data set. Control and C to copy, then Control up to get to the top of the data set, and then we're gonna paste it again, and that should work. There you go. So we're gonna highlight this column so I remember that I've made some changes to it in the future if I do want to look back on it. So I'll highlight yellow, and we will, yellow's actually not the best color, or maybe I can just make this whole row black so that it's easier to see. Yeah, much better. Okay, and then we're gonna highlight this green. Actually, we're gonna wanna convert it into British pound as well, so I'm gonna make a new column and make this yellow also because it's still part of the pre-processing activity. So we're going to click on this column here, and I'm gonna type in, let's see, so actual price, and I'll write pounds. Okay, but I want to know the exact exchange rate. So I've just done a quick Google search and found out the exchange rate is 0.0095. So 0.0095 per pound is equal to 1 Indian rupee. So I'm going to do a quick formula. So I'm going to click on the equal sign. I'm going to click on this cell here, so D1, which is price clean, and I'm going to times that by 0.0095, and that's 10. Oh, let me change this whole column to currency as well, so it's easier for me to see. So I'm going to highlight this whole column, click on go to home, go to the numbers section, and then click on currency. So I think it makes sense. £10.44 for a charger, I believe it is. Yeah, for a charger sounds realistic, so looks good. So now this is the final, I guess, step in terms of what I'm doing to the price column. I'm gonna highlight this green so that when I get to analyzing the worksheet, I know which columns to use. So I'm just gonna highlight this green. Perfect. Cool. So next we have the discounted price. I don't think we need to make any changes unless there are blanks in this column, which I don't believe so that's fine. Here we have the discounted price. So we don't want 64% of 1044. We want 64% off £10.44. So to do that, we're going to need to do 100% minus 64%, and then we can times that by 1044. Because let's say, for example, there was a 99% discount, and it was 99% times 1044, then it would be like £10.40 or something. So that's not the number we want. We would want 99% off £10.44, which would be a very small number. So yeah, so we need to do 100% minus 64%, and then we can times it by the currency. So we're going to make another column here, and just like we did earlier, we're going to highlight all the columns where we've made changes or we've applied any cleaning to. Let's highlight that yellow. We're going to call this actual percentage. Hopefully I spelled that right. Actual percentage, and then we're going to do, let's try 100 minus this. See what happens. Oh, of course, you've got the equal sign. 100 minus 64%. 100 minus 64% has produced a very big number. I believe it's because I'm supposed to do a 1 instead of 1,000, because 64% is 0.64. So I need to take away 1 to make it 36%. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. So before it was essentially the same number but 100 times more, because 64% is 0.64 as a percentage. So now we have the actual percentage that we want to times by the currency. So we're gonna make a new column, highlight this again, click on the new column, change the title to, let's see, discounts. Or an easier way to do this actually would just be to copy and paste this and then just add clean at the end. Clean at the end. So we know this is the right one. I'm gonna highlight this green also. So now we've highlighted this green, we're going to times the actual percentage with the price. So we're going to do equals 36% times £10.44, and then and then obviously the flash fill will automatically fill out the rest of the columns. If it doesn't fill out the rest of the columns, another way to flash fill the whole column is to click on the cell where you applied the formula, and you go to the bottom right corner, and then you double click this, and then it will automatically fill out the same formula for every cell in that column. So yeah, now we have the discount percentage clean sorted. We're going to go to the discounted price, which is, we've just done that, so we don't need this column anymore. So let's delete that. So here we have the rating column, and I just want to make sure that there's no blanks or no errors in this column. So, okay. So we have a line here. I'm assuming that this column is arranged from 1 to 5. So I'm gonna deselect everything and then only select the row with this line inside to see what's going on. So this is row 1281, and yeah, so it just seems to be a line in the rating, and there definitely should be a number there. So there's different ways you can go about this. So I'm gonna make an assumption that when the raw dataset was being downloaded onto Excel, there was a form of error, or maybe someone just mistyped it, and this was actually supposed to be a 1 instead of a line. So you know, there's different ways you can go about this, different assumptions you can make, but moving forward, I think this would be the best thing to do. So I'm going to change that into a 1. And this is why it's so important to make a copy of the original data set, so that if there was any mistake, you can then go back and then get the original data. So yep, made that into a 1. I'm going to just clear the filter from rating. Cool. So I think one thing that we can do now that will help us later in the dashboard is to put this into different categories. So making a category of, you know, excellent, good, poor, or fair. So we're going to make a new column here, and we're going to call this, let's see, we can call it rating category. Going to double click so that we can see the whole column. And yeah, so I think a good plan would be to make a category from 4 to 5 and calling it excellent, a category from 3 to 4 calling it goods, a category from 2 to 3 calling it fair, and then anything 0 plus would just be a poor product. So how do we do this? We're going to be using the if statement. So we're going to press equals, and then we're going to type in ifs, and then we're going to click on the if statement, and just a little description here. So it checks whether one or more conditions are met and returns a value corresponding to the first true condition. So double click that. So we're going to click on the rating 4.2, and then we're going to type in greater than 4. And then if the result is greater than 4, then we're going to return the characters or string of, oh, okay, so I accidentally clicked on something while making the formula, so quick fix is just press Ctrl Z to just undo, and it'll bring you back to where I was before. So I want it to return excellent. So any rating that's above 4 will return excellent. That's how you spell it. And then and then we're going to do the same thing again. So if this rating here is greater than 3, then we want to return good. So I'm just going to type that in there. Again, I made the same mistake. So Control Z, and then I'll bring it back to where I was. So I want it to return good. And then the same thing again. So comma 4.2 is greater than 2, comma again, and then we want it to return the word good, fair, if it's greater than 2. And then the last one, click on the cell, greater than 0. So anything from 0 to 2 will put in the category poor. So after we fill this in and we fill out the first one, we can do the flash fill function, which will automatically apply the same formula to every cell in the column. So yeah, that looks good. Let's see what happens. Yeah, great. So what first time? So now we can see that, you know, anytime there's a rating of above 4, it will reply excellent. And actually here, the rating is 4, but it returned good. So that's because I did greater than 4 rather than doing equals to 4. So I'm going to change that quickly. Equals, 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 oh, no, equals here, and equals here. Okay, see if that changes anything. Okay, so there's a problem with this formula, not trying to type a formula. Okay, so I've made an error here somewhere, so I'm just going to check it quickly. I believe I placed the equal sign on the wrong section. So I think it's on the right side of the greater than sign rather than the left. So I'm just correcting it now. Okay, yeah, so that fixed it. So now if there's anything greater or equal to 4, then it will return excellent, and then 3 or above, good, and so on and so forth. And to make sure that there's only 4 categories, we can click on the filter and just make sure that there's no blanks or no errors that are happening. So it all looks good, excellent, fair, good, and poor. So we're going to highlight the rating column just so we know that we've made some sort of change to it. And we're going to highlight the rating category green. So here we have the rating count. And as you can see, there are some cells with 2 commas instead of 1, which is interesting. So the first I'm going to try to do is maybe just convert it all to a number and then see if that changes anything. Let's see, number. Okay, so we know that it can't be anything to do with, there's no decimals because it's just a rating count. And if we were to sort this from largest to smallest, we can see if that the numbers with 2 commas are actually registered as numbers or they're not. Because if they're not, then we need to fix that, because when we're analyzing our data set, it will just not include this in the graphs or in any of the data. So it's a big no. So we need to sort this from largest to smallest, so that way I'll be able to tell if it's actually ordering these or it's just gonna put it at the bottom or just somewhere where it's not supposed to be. So largest to smallest. Okay, so even though there are 2 commas in each one, it's still counting as a number, which is good. I just wanted to make sure. So we can move along knowing that regardless of the fact that whether it has 2 commas or not, it's still registered as a number. So we can just move everything to the left so that it's consistent with all the data. I think I want to make all of these to the left actually, so it's going to highlight all these rows, move it to the left. Okay, so here we have hour of purchase. I want to also put these into 4 categories because I believe that this is a weekly data set, so it'll be cool to see or to connect it with different parts of the day, so morning, afternoon, evening, and night. And then we can split the hours from 6 a.m. to 12 p.m., 12 p.m. to 6 p.m., 6 p.m. to midnight, and then midnight to 6 a.m. So we don't need to change the rating count or highlight it because we didn't really make any changes. It was just checking if the cells with 2 commas were actually being registered as numbers. So, but we do need to highlight this because we did make refer to it. So create a new column and we're going to call this what could we call it? We could call it day category. So I mean, you can call it anything you want as long as it makes sense, and when you look back at it, you know exactly what it's referring to. So yeah, so now we need to put in a formula that's gonna change or return for this cell the word afternoon. So before I continue, it'll be good for you guys to try this out for yourselves. So you can pause the video, try apply what I've applied to the previous rating category, or if you have another method of doing it, that's great, and you can put it in the comments for to share with everyone else, even myself. So yeah, give it a try, pause the video, you can try and Google it, try and experiment with different formulas, and then press play when you're ready. So welcome back. I hope that it went well and you guys were able to figure it out, but I'm still going to show you guys my solution and the way that I did it. So I used an if statement like we did before, but I also used the hour function, which returns the hour in the time. So in this case, in L2, it being 13, and then it returns any of the 4 categories based on whether it's less than or equal to a certain number. So for example, here, it's the hour function at hour of purchase, which is 13, and it's, if it's less than or equal to 23, then it would be evening. So I'm just going to show you the rest so you guys can copy it down if needed. So yeah, here if it's less than 18, it's going to return afternoon. Then we have less than 12, which is the morning, less than 5, which would be the night, and then we have the ifs function. So I'm going to press enter. It's going to apply the flash fill and it's going to apply it to every cell in the column, which is great. So when we analyze things that have formulas inside, it can get a bit technical or difficult at times because, if we accidentally modify anything or delete, this column, for example, because we no longer need it, it's going to return a massive error because there's no longer a reference to any cells to when we apply formulas. So we're going to make a new column and we're going to click on M2. We're going to copy and paste this whole column. So doing what we've done before, Control Shift down, Control C, and then Control up. And then we're not going to just copy and paste it because if we did, it will also copy and paste the columns, which you don't want. So we're only going to paste the values or what's inside the cell without the formulas. So we're going to right click and we're going to click here. So it's the clipboard with the 1, 2, 3 at the bottom. And if you hover over it, it should say values. So now as you can see, there's no formula applied. It's just the string attached, so afternoon. And if we were to delete these 2 columns, which we probably will later, it's not going to affect it because it's not referencing anything and there's no formulas included. So going back now, so Control Z, just undoing what I did. I'm going to highlight this, make it green, and I'm going to call it hour of purchase. I can just copy and paste this, it's easier. Hour of purchase clean. And I'm gonna, just for consistency, I think this looks better actually. So hour of purchase clean. Great. So now we have this column. This one's not highlighted, it's kind of bothering me. Highlight. So here we have day of the week and it's just in numbers, but if we go to the day of the week worksheet, we're gonna see, I'm assuming, yep, so just different numbers that are uniquely identifying each day of the week. So I think here would be a good time to use the VLOOKUP function, which is basically a function where it looks at a cell that you've chosen and then it finds it in an array that you selected. So it's going to be this table here in this case, and then it's going to return what the number is being referred to. So for example, if we go back to pre-processing, once we do the VLOOKUP, it's going to look at the number 6, look at the day of the week table, go to number 6, and then return whatever key value pair is attached. So in this case, it's going to be Saturday. So let's start with making a new table. So same thing as usual, insert table, highlight this column, so we know that we've referenced it. Call this, let's see, day of week clean. Double click so we can see the whole data set. So we're going to go to day of the week, and we're actually going to make this a table so we can easily reference it later on. So Control T again, so highlight the whole thing, press Control T. My table has headers. Actually, well, in this case, there aren't any headers, so we don't need to do that. Press OK. And then we're going to change the table name so that when we do reference it, it'll be easy to identify. And if we do make any mistakes or there's any errors, it'll be easy to know. So we're going to call this day of week. So if you can't find it, just click on table design and then you'll be able to see table name on the far left. So great, now that we've done that, we can just change these columns as well. So we can just type in day ID and then just type in day here. So we're going to go back to the pre-processing worksheet. Okay, so here we're going to type in the equal sign. We're going to type VLOOKUP here. Okay, so now we're going to click on this cell. So just a short description here. So click on the lookup value, and then we're going to highlight the table array, or in this case, just go on the table that we just created. Type in the column index number, which essentially means in that table that we highlighted, which column do we want to look at. So in this case, there's only 2 columns, so we want to look at the second column. And then here we're going to type in either true or false. So true is going to be an approximate match and false is going to be an exact match. So in this case, because the IDs and numbers, we're going to do a exact match. So we're going to click on day of the week here, and then I'm going to click comma, go to day of the week. So we're going to highlight this table here. So it's going to be the day of the week table. And then we're going to press 2 because we want the second column here, which is the day column or the B column. And then here it says, like I said earlier, so we have true or false, approximate match, and exact match. So we want a exact match. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So now we press enter, it's able to look at the number so that we specified on, and it's going to refer to the table. It's going to come to this table, scroll down here, look at the day ID, find the number that you were referring to, and then return the content of the cell that we wanted. So in this case, we did column 2. So it's going to go down to 6, refer to key value pair, and it's going to return Saturday. And then with the flash fill, it's done that to every cell in the column, which is just what we need. So I'm going to highlight this green so that we know that this is a finished column. And then with the image link and the product link, I think for now it's not something that we want to get into. I just want to keep things simple for you guys so that we can just analyze what we have. We can get so much out of it. But if you are up for the challenge and you do want to try and get something out of the product links or image link, then go for it. But in this case, I'm going to leave it out. So that's pretty much it. I just want to make sure that we checked for everything. We did check the first half earlier for any blanks, but we haven't checked the second half. So I just want to check. So we're going to go to, let's see, we haven't checked the rating count. So I'm just going to type in blanks here to see if there are any blanks. And oh, okay, there's blanks. It's good double checked. So we're going to deselect everything, and then we're going to only select the blank section and see what turns up. So we have 2 rows of data, so 284 and 226 and 326, sorry. And there's a missing rating count, which is interesting. So you have a few choices. So you can either delete both rows because there isn't a rating count and you want the data set to be consistent, or you can try to find the data and replace it. In real life, you should be able to replace it just by, asking whoever gave the data set on why there's missing data, or just to clarify a few things. But in this case, just for the sake of the project, we're gonna delete these two data sets. So we're gonna right click, delete row, right click, delete row. So now there shouldn't be any blanks, which is good. Yep. So now we're gonna clear the filter, and then we're gonna check for, let's see, have we checked the price? Yep, it's all good. So yeah, I think it should all be okay. We can also double check, just clean the day of the week, clean, see if there's no blanks. There's no blanks. I'll purchase. Well, yeah, there's nothing in day of the week, then I doubt there'll be anything in I'll purchase either. So now that we have a clean data set, we can move on to the next stage, which is the analyzing phase, where we'll create a new worksheet. So I think one more thing we can do actually, which would be good, is to do another VLOOKUP function for the categories. So, we can look at the price per category or the rating per category and so on and so forth. So let's do that quickly before moving on to the analyzing phase. So we're going to highlight this because we've referred to it. I'm going to call this column category. Okay, so let's just look at the category section so we know what we're working with. So here we have the category, and we've got all the categories here which are put together, and they're separated by columns and some of them by lines. Okay, so we definitely need to split these up because, if we do want to return whatever is the key value pair for cat 0001, it's going to return this whole content. But when we're analyzing data, this is not going to look good, and it's not going to be able to gather any good insights. We're not going to be able to gather any good insights or any good results from this. So I think what a good idea would be is just to look at the main category. So it will just be clear and minimal as well, because if we just focus on the subcategories, then we're just going to have a bunch of different charts and a bunch of different bars in a bar graph, and it's just not going to look good. So I think we'll definitely be able to pull some good insights and some good analytics from looking at the main category. So how do we split this cell into, well, I guess several columns, and then only take out the initial category? So before I continue, I think it'll be good for you guys to try it out and just to experiment with just using Excel. If you have no clue, or you just don't know how to move forward, then it's fine. You can continue the video. But if you have some experience and you have an idea, I think it'll just be good for you to try it out and just to reinforce what you've learned in the past. So pause the video, and I'll just wait for a few seconds for you guys to give it a try. Okay, so hopefully you've given it a shot and you were able to split this into different columns. But if not, we're gonna quickly do it now, so it's all good. So we're gonna find a function that's gonna help us split this data into different columns. So we're gonna click on data, and we're gonna click on text to columns. So it's gonna ask us what it's gonna be separated with, which is in this case going to be this character here, the line, and we're actually able to choose what the character is in the next section. But here you can see all the content that was within the cell. So here we're able to choose what exactly is the character. So we're just going to type it in here, which is, where is it? It's here. So there you go. So it automatically applied it to each time it's seen this character here and split it into different columns. So now that we've confirmed that, we can press next, and then we're going to finish. So it seemed to delete the cell that was here and then just replaced it with the categories that was here, but that's, it worked either way. So it's split different categories, and we now know that we want to work with the first category. So we're going to, okay, actually let's so I just press Control Z because I still want to keep this data. So we're going to move this over to, let's do J, so that when I do split, it won't affect the IDs for each category. So we're going to do the same thing. So click on data, text to columns, next. Since I've already typed it in before, it saved it and it's automatically the same one. Press finish and it's split in all the different categories. So we're going to do flash fill, hopefully apply it to the rest. No, it didn't. So we can, let's see, we can highlight every row. So Control Shift down. We can do text to columns, and then we can do next. It saved it already and press finished. Okay, great. So now we have each of the main categories and we have the ID for each category here. So we don't want any of this at all, but it wouldn't be right if we just deleted the data, because we might need it in the future, or there might be some reason that we do need it, or if we actually decided, oh, we want the second category also, then it will be good to have. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to copy and paste this, going to insert a column here, going to paste it here. So copy, paste, and then we're going to make this a table so that we can easily refer to it just like last time. So Control Shift to the right. Oh, because there's no data here and because there's no tables, there's no titles, so it's just gonna go all the way to the data set. So we're gonna quickly title all of these. So we'll do cat ID. We can call this sub cat, and then let's see if we'll just add a 1 or 2 to each one. So we'll do subcat 1, subcat 2, and so on and so forth. Pause. Okay, so now we're going to make this a table. So Control Shift right, and then press down, and then Control T to make it a table. My table has headers. Then we're going to double click so we can see all the information clearly. Okay, great. So now we're going to go back to the pre-processing worksheet and we're going to apply the same VLOOKUP. I think it'll be good again for you guys to try out for yourselves. So yeah, pause the video, try it out. It'll be the same VLOOKUP function we used before, but obviously just for the category, and see if you guys can work through it and figure out the solution. So I'm going to give you guys a few seconds again and come back to this video once you're ready. Okay, great. So hopefully you guys gave it a try and it worked out, but if not, that's okay too. We're here to learn. So we're going to apply the VLOOKUP function. Click on category 001, comma, go to our category table, highlight the whole thing. So it's highlighted each of the column names, but we need to highlight the whole table. So we're going to press Control Shift down. So it highlights the whole table, comma, and then we'll go into which column we're referring to. So we're going to refer to column 2, which is the main category, and then we're going to return false so that it's only going to return it if it's an exact match. And yeah, that works perfectly. So we're just going to double click to fully see the data, and then we're going to highlight this screen so that we know that this is the final and clean version. And oh, actually what we need to do is actually copy and paste this data into just the values, because obviously if this data was deleted for some reason or those are changed, then there'll be errors to this data. So let me just remove this quickly so you guys understand. So yeah, so because this function referred to this cell and now the cell's empty, there's no longer any return. So we want to make sure that doesn't happen. So we're going to Control Shift down, Control C, Control up, and then right click here and then only paste the values so it doesn't paste, the formulas. And then we're going to highlight this screen and highlight this yellow and then call this, we can call it, I think main category would be good. And then we're going to call the clean one main category clean. So now that's done, we've pretty much cleaned the data set, so we know that there's no blank spaces. We've copied and pasted the values of each data so that there's no references to any formulas, so that if we did delete these rows and only kept the clean rows, there's gonna be no issues. We actually haven't done to this one, which is a good find. So I'm just gonna do that now. Copy and paste this. Right, clean. Control Shift down, Control C, Control up. Then we're going to paste the values. Then we're going to double click this so you can see the whole column, and then just make sure that all of the clean columns, we do the same thing to all of the clean columns. So gonna Control Shift down, Control C, Control up. Hopefully you're getting used to the copy and pasting now, because you've done it a few times. It was definitely good practice. We can refer to this as clean, so we're going to need to change this discount percentage, change that one to clean, remove the 2, and then we're going to need to do the same thing here. Insert, rating count, rating category, sorry, and then clean. So I seem to have changed this one and not the other one, which is fine. It's a quick fix. Control Shift down, Control C, Control up, and then paste the values. I think there's one more, or have I done it already? There is one more. Insert, copy and paste this, type in clean, yes, fine, and then for the last time, Control Shift down, Control C, Control up, and paste the values. Okay, so now we have a clean data set. So we're now going to create a new worksheet just for the analyzing phase, for the same reason as before when we created a new worksheet for the pre-processing phase, so that in the analyzing phase, we're only going to, because we only want certain columns when we analyze data, we're going to have to delete some stuff. And if we delete something that's in the original data set or in the preprocessor and we want it back for the future, we're obviously not going to be able to get it because we deleted it. So it's always good to just make a new worksheet whenever you're doing a new phase or a new step. So there's so many things you can do with each of these rows. So I'm sure there's data we can analyze from the reviews category or the products category. But for now, we're just going to focus on the price per category, maybe the days of the week and how much has been sold. And then we're also going to look at the discount percentage and then make a dashboard with that. So this is part 1 of the video. I'm also going to make a part 2, which is going to be mainly focused on the analyzing phase and also creating the Excel dashboard. But I thought I'd just split it up into 2 parts so that you can look at everything that I've done here, go back and rewind and go through everything that needs to be done again if you didn't understand or if you wanted to practice more. And if you have any questions, just put in the description. I'll try my best to answer any of them. But thank you so much for following my Excel project. If there's any ways I can improve, let me know. If there's anything that I could have done better, let me know. I'm always happy to hear out and listen and learn also. So yeah, thank you for watching. I appreciate you guys going through, and I hope to see you guys in part 2 of the video, where I'm going to be taking you to the end of the project and you guys can show off to different employers that would want to hire you, and or just if you want to build your portfolio, or if you just want to build your Excel skills in general. Please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in part 2.